Hi, I'm Kate Pendry, and I'm one of the playwrights in residence at Dramatikkens, which is the Norwegian Centre for New Playwriting. I've been here since October, which is when the programme started, and all being well, I'll be here until September the 30th, 2015, which is 2 years. People have asked, what does that mean, a playwright in you see, there's the Freudian slip, playwright in president. I think I'm the king of the world. What does it mean, playwright in residence? Given the incredible openness of the house, and certainly, I don't like the phrase, but the artistic leadership that we have here, it means, within reason, that I can do whatever I want to do within the field of playwriting, and whatever that means, or writing drama. We have a house here which has 2 wonderful stages. It's fully equipped, magnificently, gloriously shabby in its own way, but a warm and open house for performance. Although we're not a producing house, there is the possibility always to create theatre. So I have a background as an actress, and fell into writing accidentally, or rather there was a need to do it, because when I moved to Norway in 1995, well, obviously no one was going to give me work because I didn't speak the language, and I was neither pretty enough nor ugly enough to warrant any particular attention. Although I was convinced of my own burning talent, it wasn't particularly noticeable, so I had to write my own stuff and put it on. And in those days in Norway, it was perhaps easier, as it is anywhere, than it is now. The commercial aspect wasn't so much there. It was perhaps nostalgically a quieter time. It was possible in the centre of the city to find locations, old lofts and cellars and disused tram sheds where you could put up a show and tell people about it. And in those days you had to tell people about it. And that's where I cut my teeth, as it were, with writing. And the work was well received. I was able to be more controversial than I would have been in England, because I was in exile, if you will, and I suppose in a way that's continued, in that as an English person, not an expat, because I don't really have any patriotism at all, but as not native Norwegian, or whatever that means, I have the outsider's view, utestående blick. But I've had that in England as well, even though I am English, always felt a bit outside. Maybe all writers do. So here I am. Because I still perform, I still act as well. I don't particularly like doing it, but it pays the rent occasionally. And it's what I'm trained to do. I have done a combination of things here, writing and performing. I know that sounds terribly vain, but I have established certainly one character that's been established. I suppose this is where we can cut to a picture of Johnny Johnson, who's had a lot more success than I have, actually. He's definitely, my male character, Johnny Johnson, is much more loved and listened to than I've ever been. So I don't really know what that means in terms of gender politics, but I'll strap it on, any day. And he continues to pack the house, God bless him, and that's an opportunity for me to write for him. So I've already done that. In September was my first production, before I'd even started officially as a house playwright, was a dance tribute to Margaret Thatcher with Johnny Johnson. I have the opportunity here as a playwright to have longer term projects. Siri Senye is my mentor, guide, boss, if you will, and I can discuss with her long term projects that I want to work on, or which seems to be more my rhythm, although I don't like it. I think it's a certain pathology in it that I'm not able to commit to long-term projects. I sort of ejaculate these projects out. In the short term, I write quite fast, and I want to see the results quickly. Maybe more to the point, I want to forget about the results quickly, get it out and over with and move on to the next thing. That's something I'm working on. The point being, I can do short, intense projects, write a play within a month, have a rehearsed reading, it lives, it's done, move on to the next one. This means that I can address quite contemporary issues, so, and I don't mean that in a pretentious manner, God forbid, but on the 22nd of November 2013, it was the 50th anniversary of the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and this, I felt, was an ideal opportunity to mark that with a piece of writing, acknowledge the history, if you will. So I was able, in quite short notice, after talking to Siri, produce a manuscript, which was based on the idea of a fictitious meeting between Marilyn Monroe and Jacqueline Kennedy, as Jackie Kennedy prays at the Catalfaq, which is a very humorous word, but it means the coffin of her assassinated husband, and is visited by the ghost of Marilyn Monroe. Well, that work was successful enough. It was produced intensely. I brought in 3 wonderful actresses who just leapt on board with this strange piece of writing that I'd developed. And that particular piece of writing, which was written in English, and I am translating now into Norwegian, will be presented at the Litteraturfestival in Lillehammer in May. So these things have a life. I've got a large piece of paper up in the loft upstairs. We have a writer's loft, and at the moment, because my fellow playwrights are all terribly busy in other parts of the globe, I've been pretty much on my own up there for a while. And this is, you've got to love Norway, you know. There's so much talk on social media about what the fuck is wrong with Norway, and so much complaint, if you will. And every society has its problems, but we have a house dedicated to writing, and I know that there's a lot of politicians and people of certain political parties that think we're disgusting, you know, just the fact that we exist and that there's no place for us, but there is, you know, and we do what we do with dignity, and there's a loft up there, and I can sit in this loft and write, and write theatre, you know, such an orphan child theatre. It's really being propped up, isn't it? We know that it's struggling so hard to survive in competition with all the other forms of entertainment, but we're still here. I think theatre's been a dying art form for about 1,000 years, actually, but we're still hobbling along. It's like some marriage, some strange marriage that no one really wants to give up on, in a way. And I'm not giving up on it. Sitting in the loft as a playwright in residence, which is such a noble title, I do feel a civic duty, if you will, to the house, to the board, and that's not. I suppose that can sound quite arse kissy, but it's just it's not. You know, you get paid a bit of money, get given a beautiful environment where I can come to work, and that's the most amazing thing. And say good morning to people and drink a cup of coffee and then go up and write the theatre. I do feel that with that great freedom comes a great responsibility. It's the watchword in life, isn't it? So I try and produce as much as I can for the 2 years that I'm here, and then let the heavens fall. Thank you for your time.